Okay, so um, just before the new week begins, I decided to just recap myself a little bit and just put some things out. So what has happened last week? I took some sort of break. I traded way less. I pretty much didn't trade live at all. I took some demo trades and stuff, and but I kept taking demo trades here, and it was actually quite interesting to see the things I could do or could not do with and without pressure. So yeah, this is like I said, this is not the um, how to say, like not like the point of having just big numbers because it makes no sense. But I noticed that when the pressure was released of this account, I kind of I got chill and started trading and see some behaviors and see what I trade bigger sizes just to see what would happen. But mostly what I traded was to see the if the how to say the setup was going to play it out or if it would just to try to kind of make sense out of the executions. And yeah, so for example, something I traded and it was initially actually by mistake, but I was gonna do the same thing on NQ, and I'm gonna explain. Basically, what I've been studying lately is the gaps behavior based on my script. Also, like for example, what I'm seeing here is the numbers, and I'm identifying basically outside gaps up or down, and also inside gaps up or down compared to yesterday's range, not like weekly or whatever. It's just yesterday's range. And for example, when these things occur, I want to see what's the market behavior, meaning I want to see, for example, either 5 minutes or 15 minutes first bar behavior, how if it's, for example, hesitating or if it's a clear direction bar or something like that. And also, of course, I'm following the percentages of the gaps that are filled. So, for example, outside gaps are less likely to be filled compared to inside gaps. For example, right now on the S&P, basically, for example, inside gaps they are between 71.25% to 80%. They tend to fill, and outside gaps are between 35 and 55%, which is less. But anyway, the point of these numbers is basically me trying to spot an edge. Meaning, for example, um, I want to see, for example, let's say in the inside gaps, which is the ones that have been initially studying the most, since they are the one that feel the most. I think there is a good edge behind that. So I wanted to see, like, okay, how is the price behaving when it actually fills, and how is behaving when it's actually not filling. And this is actually where it gets interesting. This was, for example, a Friday. This price action here. This is the prior day. For some reason, I kind of managed this script to this another coda or script indicator that I have to level the actual close, which is here basically, but I need to fix it later. The point is, I wanted to see on the open, which is here, how is the market behaving compared to the gap or to a possible continuation. Okay, what was I seeing here? Basically, I was initially on NQ, which is here, and I already knew that yeah, we are having an inside gap down. This is basically the level that I have there, which I need to also fix. But anyway, the point is, I saw these and Nasdaq. Of course, the numbers are a little lower, but they are close nearly 70% of fills on inside gaps. So I was like, okay, let's see what happens at the open, and then what is the um, how is the bar finishing? And I noticed this bar open here, trade lower. It touches, it took the lows here, these lows here, near the open of the prior day, and then it closed higher. But you could say that it's some sort of indecisive bar, which is okay. Point is, I was like, okay, let me see the next part. If it's gonna be like some sort of like a push to the fill, or it's gonna be some whatever. Let's see. The thing is, I noticed immediately that the next bar was a small reclaim at the open, retest, and then just straight lower, strong, closing at the lows. So that to me basically indicated a pretty possible continuation to the downside because it rejected the gap here and also it closed below the yesterday's lows here, which is pretty much could be a retest short, and exactly what I did, but I did that short in S&P 500, and I'm gonna explain now. Basically, one thing I saw was that at the same time that NQ failed to trade higher to the open, uh, MS did actually came to the open, reclaimed the open, took the high of the previous the first bar at the open, and then tanked. So pretty much what I did was I shorted here just as a test to see how it's gonna be. So I shorted around this level when this second bar came up. And one thing I was analyzing between NQ and MS was basically the daily time frame. What was, like I just wanted to see what was the most likely spot, like clear swings to target. And for example, this was already taken on NQ, so there was no point for me to even think about this. And also this was a little bit, like, I would say, quite far. I don't know how far was it, but at this point it was something like this, so like almost 400 points. So yeah, I didn't even think about this. But instead, I noticed this on S&P 500. Price was around here when I was executing. Somewhere there you will see. I'm gonna go in there. But basically, I noticed these lows here, these daily swings. So I started to outline them, and I basically got these equal lows here from these 2 days here, which is basically this one that I outlined is the lowest. So what did I do? Here, when I started shorting, the price was, let me see, yeah, 80 points, which it was to me like quite, of course, for S&P it could be big, but still I think it was a decent range to aim for. So I basically just shorted, regardless of the size I shorted here, and I used the high here at the open of my stop loss. So I just let pretty much the trade go. And I remember when I was on the daily time frame, I was thinking, yeah, I mean, it could, because it was late, it was Friday, so it was kind of unlikely. But I was thinking, okay, what if it goes to this whole ring swing here or whatever? But that's asking too much for price. So what I did was I pretty much just exited below the low of these daily swings over here, so nothing else. And then I got tag out, and I literally just follow that premise, which is like price is failing. There's no signs that I want to go higher. So it seems like even though, for example, here inside down on S&P 500 is close to 80% at the point at this time, it was still like not clearly going higher. So I pretty much, let's say that I decided to go with 20%, which means it's not gonna fill, and it's likely to just trend lower. And exactly what I did. But yeah, point is, at the beginning, I mean, initially, what I want to see is the gap being filled, and also how it behaves after it's filled. Because sometimes, for example, what has happened a lot I have seen is, for example, the price, let's say, like for example here, this is a good example that I actually traded as well here. Market is opening with an inside gap up, and then what it does is the first bar, it is a pretty beautiful bar, you could say, to the upside. But then what it's doing also is here is trading into prior days, gapping high here, and then immediately the next bar tanks and close strongly at the lows here, and the next bar as well, the third bar, which means this is a beautiful um, setup when you want to go against the initial open. Why? Because the numbers are high, meaning that it is likely to fill the gap based on this percentage. So if you find, or in my case, if I find, which I found, a setup here to go and fill the gap, basically that means I could be shorting somewhat around this area here. If I find a setup, and that could, let's say, potentially mean like, yeah, 40 points, like in the case of SP 500. But anyway, I just to trying to explain the point. So for example, here, price open, traded, filled the gap, here rejected and can close again higher. This means like it's reclaiming to the upside, and it's likely to just go against the gap, for example. So it just was, sorry, in the favor of the gap, which was up in this case. So it pretty much traded higher. This is one of the things that I'm studying, and of course trying to get better at. And I have here basically a bunch of examples that I've been gathering with some notes and well, things that for my own understanding, how it looked and everything and what it did. So yeah, pretty much this is what I'm going through. Basically, I'm recording well, direction of the gap, behavior, and also what is the likely direction based on, for example, how the first 5 or 15 minutes of the market are behaving. So it really depends a lot where it opens, how it opens, and of course how is the first bar or two bars close, or how they are behaving. But anyway, besides that, One good thing was I pretty much spent the week just pretty much chilling, trying to reflect on myself on things and seeing the charts from time to time, but also mostly focus on my child. I've been spending a really beautiful week with her, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel way better. I feel more calm, and I feel like I would say less pressure, which is I think is amazing. I noticed that I've been feeling quite pressure to try to make things happen like maybe faster than they should, and that definitely is taking me to the wrong how to say part of the things that I actually want to achieve. So it's basically doing the opposite to me. But yeah, and another thing was that I actually I normally don't watch news and stuff, but lately it's kind of impossible to let it out. But the thing is, I kind of digged a little bit into the world of trading. How is the overall picture and the big picture and everything. And I noticed that I actually missed it. I would say since the end of the last year, which is basically there's been some news with Top Step and new brokerage scams and stuff, and I was not aware about this. Point is, seems like there has been some complaints and a lot of bad reviews and shit, which makes me think a lot. Like, should I be actually in this circle now? Like, should I just maybe try to diversify or um, check other options? And the truth is that actually I think there is pretty decent options around there. So I decided to take a look, and I actually found this prop firm, which is what is it here? This Take Profit Trader, which I decided to test. I actually bought one account with them, and let's see. One of the main points actually why I decided to try, besides that they have some good reputation, is that I can trade on TradingView, and that for me is a huge plus because I have whatever chart package I have here, but also it's so smooth for me to record everything that I need and also to keep track better of my stuff. Plus, I can use my own scripts here. For example, if I'm in TradeAway or even the Top Step X, I cannot actually add at least I don't know how to add my scripts there. So yeah, I think this is a small improvement for me. But regardless of that, it's kind of it's more handy. But I remember because the account you could say is basically is belongs to TradeAway platform. But the point is, I remember when I also traded before with TradeAway and also access to TradingView, it was a little laggy compared to the actual top TradeAway platform, which I have. This is the platform. The point is, I want to see how it behaves during the next week. If the TradingView is cleaner, if there's no lag or whatever. So if there's no lag and it allows me to trade cleaner, I probably will continue trading on TradingView. If not, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use it to analyze here and to see the better image and everything. And I'm gonna just use TradeAway to just execute basically. So yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see how is the future. How to say unfolding, and yeah, I've been, like I said, reflecting a lot and also trying to focus on the small steps, like baby steps, and I'm gonna try to do my best to do that and to remain consistent as much as I can, of course. But yeah, new how to say, new step begins, and then just gonna try to stay focus and stick to myself and continue developing and getting better because that's the way to go for me. So I'm gonna let it be here. I'm looking forward for the next week. I'm gonna be pretty much on my own, so I'm gonna try to focus the best I can, and of course try to trade less and less and be done as soon as I can, as long as the market allows me to do something that is actually makes sense. But okay, so let's see. On this week, I'm gonna continue recording myself and remaining accountable in for that sense. So yeah, let's see what happens.